tales of Greek mythology are brimming with illustrious heroes, yet none encountered challenges as arduous as those faced by Hercules. His story began when Zeus, the supreme god of Olympus, fell in love once more with a beautiful young mortal named Alcmene. She was married to Amphitryon, the sovereign of Tiryns. Amphitryon had set off with his army to fight in Thebes, and Zeus took advantage of the king's absence to visit the queen. The god impersonated Amphitryon to unite with Alcmene, who suspected nothing. Upon returning from the campaign, Amphitryon suspected his wife of infidelity and ordered her to be burned at the stake. However, Zeus intervened, rescuing Alcmene. He disclosed his paternity of one of the twins Alcmene was bearing, for she was also with child by her husband. Amphitryon felt privileged to rear the progeny of the supreme deity and absolved his wife. Zeus harbored grand designs for the offspring. A prophecy foretold that the premier great-grandson of the hero Perseus would ascend as monarch of the illustrious city of Mycenae. As Alcmene was Perseus's granddaughter, her child was entitled to the throne, yet her cousin too was with child. Infuriated by her husband's infidelity, the goddess Hera compelled Eileithyia, the goddess of childbirth, to expedite the cousin Eurystheus's birth. Due to this premature birth, Hercules was divested of the Mycenaean crown. After a taxing labor, Hercules and his brother Iphicles were born. Hercules' vitality was unmistakable, and there was no doubt he was the scion of the cosmos' ruler. Hera's envy reached uncontainable levels. In her fury, she dispatched 2 venomous serpents to slay the infants. The serpents infiltrated the cradle where the brothers slumbered. Alcmene, awakened by Iphicles' cries, found Hercules strangling a serpent in each hand. Fearing further retribution from the goddess, Alcmene chose to leave her son in the forest, hoping someone would find him. But as fate would have it, 2 goddesses, Athena and Hera, found the abandoned infant. Unaware of his identity, they were struck by the child's robustness. Athena endowed him with unparalleled bravery and wit, while Hera nursed him with her divine milk, bestowing upon him a strength surpassing nearly all demigods. The infant sucked so forcefully that Hera, in pain, pushed him away, and the spray of divine milk formed the Milky Way. Athena recognized the infant as her kin and vowed to return him to his mother. Realizing her inadvertent nurturing of a rival's child, Hera's wrath intensified, fueling her vendetta. Upon learning of Hercules' return, the seer Tiresias proclaimed, "Let us celebrate the homecoming of the one who will vanquish all monsters and through his valorous acts earn his place on Olympus beside his father." Hercules, displaying signs of heroism from youth, was destined to surmount formidable trials. In the realm of gods and heroes, where myth intertwines with the fabric of reality, there existed a man of unparalleled strength and courage. His name was Hercules, a son of Zeus, destined to walk a path fraught with trials and tribulations. Our story begins with Hercules, bound by fate to heed the commands of King Eurystheus, a distant kin, yet a ruler made sovereign by the whims of the divine. It was Hera, the queen of gods, who favored Eurystheus with her blessings, for she bore a deep-seated scorn for Hercules, born from Zeus, yet not of her womb. Burdened by duty and a sense of injustice, Hercules found himself at a crossroads when tasked with a daunting endeavor by Eurystheus. Disheartened, he sought counsel from the oracle at Delphi, hoping for a release from his servitude. Yet the oracle's words were unexpected. With each trial surmounted, Eurystheus's reign would wane and Hercules' legacy would flourish. Though this was not the liberation Hercules yearned for, it set him on a course that would define his legend. Amidst his turmoil, Hera, seizing a moment of vulnerability, struck Hercules with a madness so profound that it shattered his reality. Ensnared by illusions, Hercules waged war against phantoms, only to awaken to a tragedy of his own making. The lives of his beloved wife Megara and their children were extinguished by his hand. Tormented by grief, Hercules exiled himself, wandering distant lands in search of solace. It was in this exile that Hercules encountered Theus, a figure of admiration and support who saw beyond the hero's anguish to the valor within. In time, Theus's companionship became the balm that soothed Hercules' sorrowful soul, compelling him to return to Mycenae and seek redemption through service to Eurystheus. The king, wary of Hercules' potential claim to the throne, set before him a Herculean task: to vanquish the Nemean Lion, a beast of monstrous lineage and impenetrable hide, terrorizing the forests and its denizens. Armed with bow, arrow, and club, Hercules ventured into the heart of Nemea, tracking the fearsome creature to its lair, a place marked by the remnants of its many victims. In the shadowy depths of the lion's den, an epic confrontation unfolded. The lion, born of Typhon and Echidna, roared with a fury that would chill the bravest of hearts. Yet Hercules, undeterred and driven by a force mightier than fear, engaged the beast. When arrows failed and the club proved futile, Hercules, with Zeus's blood coursing through his veins, wrestled the lion with bare hands. In a display of indomitable will, he subdued the creature, using its own claws to claim its hide as a trophy of his victory. Returning to Mycenae, clad in the lion's skin, Hercules was met with a sight most unexpected. Eurystheus, overwhelmed by fear, concealed himself within a metal vat, a testament to the burgeoning legend of Hercules. Thus concluded the first of many labors, heralding the rise of a hero whose deeds would echo through the annals of time, immortalized in the hearts of those who dare to dream. In his second great endeavor, Hercules was tasked by King Eurystheus with the daunting challenge of conquering a fearsome beast residing in the lands of Lerna. This terrifying entity, a spawn of the formidable Typhon and Echidna, was none other than the Hydra. Accompanied by his loyal nephew Iolaus, Hercules set forth on this perilous journey. Their path led them through a village laid to waste by the Hydra's wrath, where a lone survivor guided them to the creature's sinister abode within the murky depths of Lerna's swamp. The Hydra, ensconced within a dark cavern, was lured out by Hercules, who employed his archery skills to shoot flaming arrows into the cave, provoking the beast. As the Hydra emerged, seething with rage, it confronted the duo with its multitude of heads, each emitting a thunderous roar. Hercules, with his remarkable agility, evaded the beast's onslaughts, landing a blow on one of its heads with his mighty club. Yet to his horror, two heads sprouted in place of the one he had struck down. Driven by frustration, Hercules resorted to his sword, only to find that each severed head was replaced by more. Observing the futility of their efforts, Iolaus proposed a cunning strategy to cauterize the neck stumps and prevent the regrowth of the heads. Thus, as Hercules decapitated each head, Iolaus seared the wounds with a torch, gradually tipping the scales in their favor. Amidst their struggle, Hera, ever the antagonist to Hercules, dispatched crabs to bolster the Hydra's defenses. However, these were but minor nuisances to Hercules, who quickly dispatched them. The final head was a formidable challenge, but together Hercules and Iolaus triumphed, with Hercules entombing it beneath a massive boulder. Recognizing the lethal potency of the Hydra's blood, Hercules ingeniously imbued his arrows with its venom, thus arming himself with a fearsome new weapon. With the beast subdued, the duo set their sights back on Mycenae. In a twisted homage, Hera immortalized the Hydra in the heavens as the constellation Cancer, forever memorializing its struggle against Hercules. Hercules' prior conquests, including the Nemean Lion and now the Lernean Hydra, solidified his reputation as an unparalleled hero. Despite Eurystheus' relentless endeavors to vanquish him, Hercules' fame only soared. In a desperate bid to best his indomitable cousin, Eurystheus contrived even more arduous tasks, setting his sights on capturing two legendary creatures alive, the formidable Erymanthian Boar and the elusive Ceryneian Hind. The Ceryneian Hind, known for its elusive nature and divine origins, was an almost insurmountable challenge. The task of capturing this sacred beast, along with the daunting Erymanthian Boar, was Eurystheus' gambit to ensure Hercules' failure, for defeat was anathema to the hero. Undeterred by the daunting odds, Hercules embarked on this new quest with unwavering resolve. After an exhaustive pursuit spanning over a year, he finally encountered the Ceryneian Hind, marked by its golden antlers and bronze hooves, one of Artemis's sacred 5 holy hinds. In the mythical realm where gods and heroes walk the earth, the constellation of conflicts between Hercules and Eurystheus continued to unfold, weaving a tapestry of tales that would be recounted for millennia. Hercules, having already vanquished formidable foes like the Nemean Lion, whose hide was impervious to weapons, and the Lernean Hydra, a monstrous serpent with regenerative capabilities, had become a figure of growing renown and adulation amongst the mortals. Eurystheus, driven by envy and fear of being overshadowed, devised nefarious plans to eliminate his cousin. only to see them thwarted time and again by Hercules' unparalleled might and wit. As Hercules' victories mounted, Eurystheus' desperation grew. In a cunning move, he imposed upon Hercules two new labors, each seemingly insurmountable. The first was to capture the Erymanthian Boar, a beast of such ferocity and strength that its mere presence caused panic and devastation. The second was to ensnare the Ceryneian Hind, a creature of divine beauty and swiftness, protected by the goddess Artemis herself. These tasks, Eurystheus believed, would ensure Hercules' demise, or, at the very least, his eternal failure. For the hero was bound by honor and divine decree never to admit defeat. The Ceryneian Hind was not merely a wild animal. It was an embodiment of the divine, with golden antlers that gleamed like the sun and hooves of iron that struck sparks upon the rocks. This hind was the swiftest of Artemis's 5 sacred deer, and while its sisters were tethered to the goddess's celestial chariot, it roamed free, a testament to its unmatched agility and grace. For over a year, Hercules pursued the hind across realms and through seasons, his determination unwavering, his resolve unbreakable. In a fateful encounter, Hercules, using his unmatched archery skills, managed to wound the hind, a necessary act to slow the divine creature. As he approached the limping hind, he found himself confronted by Artemis, the huntress goddess, her eyes ablaze with fury at the affront to her sacred charge. Hercules, caught between his duty and divine wrath, explained his predicament, invoking the oracle of Delphi and his servitude to Eurystheus. Moved by Hercules' plight and bound by the ancient decrees of fate and prophecy, Artemis relented, allowing Hercules to fulfill his task, with the stipulation that the hind be returned unharmed. With the hind secured, Hercules turned his attention to the Erymanthian Boar, a creature of raw power and primal rage. Its tusks could rend the earth, and its breath was as hot and tumultuous as a volcanic vent. Hercules quickly realized that brute force alone would not suffice to subdue such a behemoth. Cunning and endurance would be his tools. He engaged the boar in a relentless chase, pushing it to the limits of its strength, driving it through dense forests and up treacherous slopes, and finally into the depths of winter's embrace, where the heavy snows sapped the last of the boar's might. Exhausted and defeated by the elements in Hercules' relentless pursuit, the boar collapsed, allowing Hercules to bind it and claim his hard-won prize. Returning to Mycenae, Hercules presented the captured hind and boar to Eurystheus, each task completed with a combination of strength, wisdom, and respect for the divine. The sight of the formidable boar and the divine hind, coupled with Hercules' triumphant return, sent Eurystheus into a fit of terror, driving him once again to seek refuge in his bronze barrel, a symbol of his cowardice and failure. Thus, Hercules accomplished yet another of his legendary labors, his deeds resonating through the ages as examples of courage, tenacity, and the complex interplay between the mortal and the divine. In the face of insurmountable odds and divine challenges, Hercules' legacy was not just in his strength, but in his ability to navigate the demands of gods and men, to balance the brute force with wisdom, and to emerge victorious from the trials set before him. In the heart of Mycenae, under the weight of a throne burdened by the legacy of Zeus, sat King Eurystheus, his mind a tempest of schemes and fears. The hero Hercules, son of Zeus and Alcmene, had become a thorn in his side. Each labor he undertook not only a testament to his divine lineage, but also a shadow cast over Eurystheus' own reign. Desperate to humiliate the hero, Eurystheus conceived a task so demeaning it would surely tarnish Hercules' illustrious reputation: the cleaning of the Augean Stables. These were no ordinary stables. Belonging to King Augeas, whose wealth and livestock was unrivaled, the stables housed thousands of animals and had not seen cleanliness for decades. The accumulation of waste was monumental, a testament to Augeas' neglect and the sheer magnitude of his herds. Hercules, aware of the mockery embedded in the task, accepted the challenge with a humility that belied his godly heritage. The thought of refusing never crossed his mind. The labors were not only a penance for his past sins, but a path to immortality, each task a step closer to redemption. His journey to Elis was one of contemplation, his resolve hardening with each mile traversed. Upon arrival, Hercules stood before King Augeas, his presence commanding yet respectful. He did not disclose his divine parentage nor the machinations of Eurystheus, seeking instead to earn his keep through the merit of his labor. The agreement struck with Augeas was simple: cleanse the stables in a single day, and receive a tenth of the king's vast herds. Augeas, bemused by the audacity of the claim, consented, assured of the impossibility of the feat. The stables themselves were a sight of despair. Mountains of waste barricaded the entrances, the air thick with the stench of decay. Ordinary men would falter at the sight, but Hercules saw not an insurmountable obstacle, but a challenge to his ingenuity. Shovels and manual labor would not suffice for this Herculean task. It demanded a solution as grand as the hero himself. The Alpheus River, a mighty body of water that carved through the land, became the instrument of Hercules' will. With strength that shook the earth, Hercules rerouted the river, its waters cascading through the stables with purifying fury. The filth that had accumulated over decades was washed away, the stables cleansed as if by divine intervention. King Augeas, witnessing the miracle from afar, could scarcely believe the transformation. The stables gleamed under the sun, a sight unseen in his lifetime. Yet when Hercules approached to claim his due, the king's awe turned to treachery. Denying the agreement, he refused Hercules' reward, a betrayal witnessed by his own son, Phyleus. Enraged but undeterred, Hercules sought justice, not through petty revenge, but through the rightful assertion of honor. He rallied the people of Elis and with their support deposed the deceitful Augeas, installing the honorable Phyleus in his stead. The labor was complete, but the hero's journey was far from over. The next task beckoned Hercules to the lands of Arcadia, where the Stymphalian birds wrought havoc. These were no ordinary birds. Their feathers were sharp as arrows, their beaks and claws forged of iron. They descended upon men and beasts alike, their hunger insatiable, their numbers a dark cloud that blotted out the sun. Arcadia greeted Hercules with a silence that spoke of fear and despair. The villages lay deserted, the fields barren, the very air heavy with the threat of death from above. The Stymphalian lake, where the birds made their nest, was a place forsaken, a realm where hope dared not tread. Hercules, standing at the lake's edge, understood brute force would not avail him against such foes. The birds were too many, their flight too swift. It was a puzzle that required a solution born of wisdom, not strength. In his moment of need, Hercules turned to Athena, goddess of wisdom and war. Recognizing the hero's plight and his unwavering resolve, Athena bestowed upon him a gift of divine craftsmanship, bronze clappers forged by Hephaestus himself. With these, Hercules would not need to confront the birds directly, but could use guile to turn the tide. As dawn broke, the clappers sounded, their clamor echoing through the valleys and mountains, a sound so alien and terrifying to the birds that they took flight in a panicked frenzy. The sky darkened with their numbers, but Hercules stood undaunted, his bow at the ready. One by one, the iron-feathered birds fell. Their reign of terror ended by the cunning and resolve of a hero whose name would echo through the ages. The labor was complete, but the journey of Hercules was a tapestry of challenges, each thread woven with the trials and triumphs of a hero destined for immortality. The tale of the Augean Stables and the Stymphalian birds were but two such threads, each a testament to the ingenuity, strength, and courage of Hercules, son of Zeus, whose labors would forever be inscribed in the annals of myth and legend. After triumphing over the Lernaean Hydra, Hercules, the demigod son of Zeus and Alcmene, was tasked with his seventh labor, to capture the Cretan bull. This bull was not an ordinary creature, but a magnificent beast with a history intertwined with divine intervention and mortal folly. Its presence on the island of Crete was a testament to the complex relationships between gods and men in Greek mythology. The story of the Cretan bull begins with King Minos of Crete, who promised to sacrifice whatever Poseidon, the god of the sea, sent him as a sign of the god's favor. Poseidon, hearing this vow, made a splendid bull emerge from the sea, expecting it to be sacrificed in his honor. However, Minos, struck by the beauty and majesty of the animal, decided to keep it and sacrifice another in its stead. Angered by this deceit, Poseidon cursed the bull with a maddening rage, causing it to wreak havoc across Crete. Hercules' task to capture this bull was not just a test of physical strength, but also a confrontation with a creature that embodied divine wrath and had defied the will of a god. As Hercules set foot on Crete, the tales of the bull's ferocity and the destruction it caused were well known among the islanders. Fields lay trampled and villages bore the scars of the bull's rampages. The locals spoke of the bull in hushed tones, a mix of awe and fear in their eyes. For the bull was not just an animal. It was a symbol of a god's anger and a reminder of the consequences of breaking vows to the divine. Undeterred by the stories and the visible destruction, Hercules began his hunt for the bull. His journey took him across the island, through devastated farmlands and ruined settlements, all testament to the bull's uncontrollable fury. When Hercules finally encountered the beast, the clash was epic. The bull, with its massive form and steam billowing from its nostrils, seemed an unstoppable force. Yet Hercules, relying on his immense strength, agility, and hero's resolve, engaged the beast. The battle was intense and long. Hercules dodged the bull's charges, each capable of tearing through solid rock, and sought to wear the beast down. In a display of his legendary strength and skill, Hercules finally managed to grasp the bull by its horns, wrestling it to the ground in a moment that seemed to defy the very laws of nature. Subduing the bull, however, was only the beginning. Hercules had to lead the enraged creature back to Eurystheus in Mycenae. The journey was fraught with challenges, as the bull's divine origins lent it a resilience and fury beyond that of mortal creatures. Yet Hercules' determination and ingenuity prevailed. He devised a means to bind and control the bull, ensuring its safe delivery to Eurystheus, who was both amazed and terrified at the sight of the captured divine beast. The capture of the Cretan bull added to Hercules' legend, showcasing not only his physical prowess, but also his ability to overcome the consequences of divine wrath and human folly. It served as a reminder of the intricate and often perilous relationships between the gods and mankind in Greek mythology, where the actions of one could have far-reaching consequences for many. Hercules' success in this labor was a testament to his heroism, embodying the ideals of strength, courage, and resilience that have made his story resonate through the ages. As the sun rose over the ancient lands of Greece, casting long shadows over the city-states and untamed wilderness, Hercules, son of Zeus and Alcmene, found himself standing before King Eurystheus once more. The king, driven by jealousy and fear, had devised yet another labor, one he hoped would finally rid him of the demigod who had so effortlessly surpassed every challenge laid before him. "Hercules," Eurystheus began, his voice echoing in the marble halls, "your next labor will take you to the harsh lands of Thrace. There you must capture the man-eating mares of Diomedes, the ruthless king and son of Ares." Hercules, whose very name had become synonymous with unparalleled strength and bravery, accepted the task without a hint of hesitation. Yet beneath his stoic exterior, he pondered the grim nature of this challenge. The mares of Diomedes were no ordinary beasts. They were monstrous creatures that had developed a ghastly taste for human flesh, a testament to the cruelty of their master. Gathering a band of loyal companions, including his trusted nephew Iolaus and the swift Abderus, son of Hermes, Hercules set out on the perilous journey to Thrace. The group traversed rugged landscapes, their resolve tested by the elements and the constant threat of unknown dangers lurking in the shadows. Upon reaching the kingdom of Diomedes, the true horror of their task became apparent. The air was thick with the scent of fear. The locals spoke in hushed tones of the atrocities committed by their king, a man who defied the ancient laws of hospitality and human decency. Hercules, moved by the plight of the people, vowed to put an end to Diomedes' reign of terror. The confrontation was swift and brutal. Hercules and his companions, taken by surprise by the king's guards, fought with a ferocity born of righteous anger. Diomedes, witnessing the defeat of his men, charged into the fray, only to be met by Hercules' unmatched might. In a poetic twist of fate, Hercules fed Diomedes to his own mares, a fitting end for a king who had shown no mercy to his victims. With Diomedes vanquished, the mares, sated with their master's flesh, became docile enough for Hercules to lead them to his ship. Yet, the victory was short-lived. As Hercules and Iolaus battled a fresh wave of soldiers seeking to avenge their fallen king, the mares, their hunger rekindled, turned on young Abderus. The tragedy of his loss weighed heavily on Hercules' heart. In honor of his fallen friend, he founded the city of Abdera, a lasting monument to their bond. The mares, now subdued, were presented to Eurystheus, who dedicated them to Hera. These beasts, once symbols of savagery and defiance, were transformed, their lineage graced with the spirit of heroes. It was said that Bucephalus, the mighty steed of Alexander the Great, bore the blood of these legendary creatures, a testament to their enduring legacy. Yet Hercules' trials were far from over. His next task would take him to the shores of Themyscira, home of the formidable Amazons. This time the quest was driven not by Eurystheus' malice, but by the whims of his spoiled daughter, who coveted the girdle of Hippolyta, the Amazonian queen. The girdle, a gift from the gods, was a symbol of Hippolyta's prowess in battle and her rightful leadership. Hercules, weary from his previous labors yet undeterred, embarked on this new journey with a sense of foreboding. The Amazons were renowned warriors, their kingdom a fortress against invasion. Upon his arrival, Hercules found himself greeted not with swords but with cautious hospitality. Hippolyta, intrigued by the tales of Hercules' deeds and the divine blood that flowed through his veins, granted him an audience. In the presence of the Amazonian queen, Hercules felt an unexpected kinship. Here was a leader who, like him, had been shaped by the will of the gods, her life a tapestry of battles and burdens. Overwhelmed by her grace and understanding, Hercules found himself questioning the nature of his quest, the endless cycle of labors that seemed to lead only to further strife. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the land of the Amazons, Hercules and Hippolyta stood in silent contemplation. Hercules and his companions arrived in the land of the Amazons, intent on diplomacy. Initially, Queen Hippolyta was so impressed by Hercules' reputation and valor that she agreed to give him her girdle without conflict. However, Hera, the queen of the gods and Hercules' divine adversary, could not tolerate seeing him succeed so effortlessly. Disguised as an Amazon warrior, Hera sowed distrust among the Amazons by spreading a deceitful rumor that Hercules planned to kidnap their queen. Fearing for their leader's safety, the Amazons donned their armor and attacked Hercules and his followers. What was meant to be a peaceful mission devolved into a brutal clash. The battle was fierce and bloody, resulting in the deaths of many Amazons, including Queen Hippolyta herself. In the chaotic aftermath, Hercules managed to retrieve the girdle from the fallen queen, fulfilling his task. Leaving the Amazon territory, Hercules continued his journey, and his path led him to the city of Troy, which was suffering under a divine curse. King Laomedon of Troy had once promised to reward Poseidon and Apollo for building the city's magnificent walls. However, the treacherous king reneged on his promise, infuriating the gods. As punishment, Poseidon sent a monstrous sea creature to terrorize Troy's shores. Upon arriving, Hercules learned of the plight of Hesione, the king's daughter, who was to be sacrificed to the monster. Hercules agreed to save her in exchange for the horses that Laomedon had once promised to the gods. With his characteristic bravery, Hercules slew the monster and saved Hesione. Yet, true to his deceitful nature, Laomedon withheld the reward. Enraged by the king's betrayal, Hercules vowed revenge, which he would later exact by returning with a fleet to sack Troy and claim his prize. Having dealt with the treachery of Troy, Hercules was tasked with yet another labor by King Eurystheus, to capture the cattle of the monstrous giant Geryon. This task would take him to the far-off island of Erythea, near the border of the known world. The journey was perilous and long, taking Hercules across vast seas and unfamiliar lands. According to legend, during his journey, Hercules needed to cross the mountain that blocked his route to the Atlantic Ocean. Demonstrating his godlike strength, Hercules smashed through the mountain, creating the Strait of Gibraltar, known thereafter as the Pillars of Hercules. Upon reaching Erythea, Hercules faced not only Geryon, who had 3 bodies fused into one, but also his 2-headed dog Orthrus, brother to the infamous Cerberus of the underworld. Hercules first confronted and slew Orthrus, then stealthily began herding Geryon's prized cattle. However, Geryon soon discovered the theft and attacked Hercules. The battle was intense and seemed unfavorable to Hercules until he realized that Hera was aiding Geryon, enhancing his strength. Using his wits and a poison-tipped arrow, Hercules managed to defeat Geryon, taking the cattle and embarking on the long journey back to Mycenae. Upon successful completion of this labor, Hercules was once again dispatched on a quest by Eurystheus, this time to retrieve the golden apples from the garden of the Hesperides. These apples were not only a symbol of divine power, but were also guarded by a fearsome dragon, Ladon, and the Hesperides themselves, nymphs who tended to the mystical garden. As Hercules approached the garden, he encountered the Titan Prometheus, bound to a rock as punishment by Zeus, with his liver being eaten daily by an eagle. Prometheus, a Titan known for his wisdom and foresight, committed a grave offense against Zeus, the king of the gods. He stole the sacred fire from Olympus and bestowed it upon humanity, igniting the wrath of Zeus. As punishment, Prometheus was bound to a rock, and each day an eagle, the emblem of Zeus, was sent to feast upon his liver, which would regenerate overnight, perpetuating his agony. Hercules, a demigod born from Zeus and the mortal woman Alcmene, grew into a man of immense strength and noble spirit. Learning of Prometheus's endless torment, Hercules felt a deep compassion for the Titan. Believing that Prometheus had suffered unjustly and for too long, Hercules decided to intervene. With his formidable archery skills, he shot down the monstrous eagle, ending its daily attacks. Using his godlike strength, he shattered the chains that bound Prometheus, setting the Titan free. Grateful for his liberation, Prometheus, despite his weakened state, offered Hercules valuable advice. He warned him against facing a certain mighty dragon that had been terrorizing nearby kingdoms. Instead, Prometheus suggested that Hercules seek the counsel of Atlas, another Titan who had also faced Zeus's severe punishments. Hercules ventured forth to find Atlas, who was enduring a punishment of unimaginable scale. During the Titanomachy, a colossal battle where Titans clashed with the Olympian gods, Atlas had sided against Zeus. As a result, he was condemned to bear the weight of the celestial sphere on his shoulders, a burden so vast that it encompassed the heavens themselves. Upon meeting Hercules, Atlas saw a potential for respite. He proposed a bargain. He would retrieve the golden apples from the garden of the Hesperides, apples that Hercules needed to complete his labors, if Hercules would temporarily take his place and uphold the heavens. Hercules, driven by duty and the promise of completing his quests, agreed. The exchange was made, and Hercules, with every ounce of his strength, held up the celestial sphere. Meanwhile, Atlas, relieved of his burden, sauntered to the garden of his daughters, the Hesperides, and plucked the golden apples. Upon his return, however, Atlas revealed his reluctance to reassume the heavens' weight. He suggested to Hercules that he might deliver the apples to King Eurystheus, Hercules' taskmaster himself. Realizing that he had been deceived, Hercules resorted to his cunning. He feigned acceptance, but requested that Atlas take back the sphere just long enough for Hercules to adjust his lion skin cloak, claiming it made the burden unbearable. Atlas, empathizing with the discomfort and momentarily fooled, agreed. As soon as Atlas lifted the celestial weight, Hercules grabbed the apples from the ground and fled, leaving Atlas trapped once again under his eternal burden. Upon returning with the apples, the great hero Hercules was greeted with cheers by Artheus' subjects. The hero's success, however, only fueled the jealousy of King Eurystheus. Having seen Hercules complete 11 labors thought impossible, Eurystheus was desperate. He decided the only way to rid himself of Hercules was to send him to the realm of the dead. Hercules, son of Zeus, had become beloved by the people for vanquishing sinister creatures and performing feats of unmatched bravery. Eurystheus, driven by envy and fear, saw Hercules' increasing glory as a direct threat to his own rule. Eurystheus, the Mycenaean king, had but one more labor to demand from Hercules, and he intended it to be the hero's last. He ordered Hercules to descend into the underworld and retrieve Cerberus, the legendary three-headed dog of Hades, tasked with guarding the gates of the underworld. Before embarking on this perilous journey, Hercules was initiated into the Eleusinian mysteries, rituals that symbolize death and resurrection, preparing him for the trials ahead. Hercules journeyed to a secret cave, the gateway to the underworld. At its entrance, he was met by his brother, Hermes, the god who guided souls to the realm of the dead. With Hermes' guidance, Hercules entered the dark and gloomy underworld. Inside, he encountered his friend Theseus, still alive but chained to a rock as punishment by Hades for attempting to kidnap Persephone, queen of the underworld. Hercules freed Theseus, who returned to the living world, grateful and renewed. Next, Hercules met Charon, the boatman of the underworld. Initially, Charon refused to transport Hercules across the river Acheron into Hades' domain. Undeterred, Hercules threatened to destroy both the boatman and his vessel, compelling Charon to relent and ferry him across the river. Upon reaching the other side, Hercules was confronted by Hades himself. The son of Zeus faced the lord of the underworld and negotiated for Cerberus's release, promising to return the beast upon completing his task. Hades, the god of the underworld, had given Hercules permission to attempt the capture of Cerberus, the fearsome three-headed guard dog of the underworld, but under the strict condition that Hercules must use only his bare hands to subdue the beast. As Hercules descended into the gloomy depths of Hades, he encountered Cerberus. Immediately, he noticed not just the creature's formidable trio of snarling heads, but also its serpent-like tail, adding an extra layer of danger to the monstrous dog. Hercules, a seasoned fighter who had previously vanquished myriad creatures in his past labors, was undeterred by the daunting task ahead. The ensuing battle between the demigod and Cerberus was fierce and grueling. Hercules, employing his vast strength and combat expertise, eventually overpowered Cerberus. With the beast in tow, he ascended back to the surface world. The sudden exposure to sunlight disoriented Cerberus, causing it to become nauseous and vomit. The spot where the vomit landed sprouted poisonous plants, adding a perilous twist to an already epic tale. Hercules, fulfilling his duty, dragged the subdued Cerberus to the palace of King Eurystheus. The sight of the terrifying creature sent the king scurrying in terror, seeking refuge in his bronze vat. True to his word, Hercules released Cerberus, who then returned to his rightful place in the underworld. With this act, Hercules completed his 12th and final labor, a monumental achievement that cemented his legacy as one of the greatest heroes of Greek mythology. However, Hercules' adventures were far from over. Released from his obligations to Eurystheus, he now sought revenge against King Laomedon of Troy, who had reneged on a promise to reward Hercules after he had saved the king's daughter from a sea monster. To accomplish this, Hercules assembled a formidable group of heroes, including Peleus, father of Achilles, and Telamon, father of Ajax. Leading a fleet of over 10 warships, Hercules set sail for Troy. Upon reaching the beaches of Ilion, a fierce battle ensued between Hercules' forces and the Trojans, led by King Laomedon himself. The Trojans were no match for Hercules' might and strategic prowess. Hercules forcefully kept the city gates open, allowing his men to storm Troy. During the siege, Telamon displayed extraordinary bravery, navigating the city streets and combating numerous Trojans single-handedly. Hercules, witnessing Telamon's valor, felt a twinge of jealousy, a rare emotion for the demigod. In a bid to mitigate Hercules' growing resentment and prevent further conflict, Telamon cleverly began gathering stones, claiming they were to build a monument in Hercules' honor. This humble gesture quelled Hercules' envy and restored harmony among the allies. The siege culminated with Hercules killing King Laomedon with a well-aimed bow shot, after which he pillaged the city. In a gesture of respect, Hercules awarded the princess Hesione to Telamon as a prize, who chose to marry her. Hesione selected her brother Podarces as her servant, who would later become known as Priam, the future king of Troy. Hercules' exploits in Troy further amplified his already considerable fame. Following this, Hercules encountered Deianira, a beautiful princess from the kingdom of Calydon, whose beauty had attracted numerous suitors, including Iolaus, a river god capable of transforming into various forms. Deianira was horrified at the prospect of marrying Iolaus, prompting her to plead with her father for an alternative. Hercules, enamored by Deianira's beauty and seeking a new bride after previous personal tragedies, challenged Iolaus to win her hand. The clash between the demigod and the river god was yet another testament to Hercules' unwavering resolve and prowess. Thus, even after the completion of his legendary 12 labors, Hercules continued to face challenges and engage in adventures, each adding layers to his complex persona and his eternal quest for redemption, honor, and ultimately immortality beside his father, Zeus. His life, rich with heroic deeds and personal trials, remained a testament to the ideals of courage, strength, and resilience in Greek mythology.